Here, Budget Garage, welcome back. Right here I'm showing you the 500 grit sanding sponge I'm going to be using today. I'll be using those sanding sponges for the many curved areas on the 95 Firebird. For the flatter, wider areas, I'll be using the Speedokote 500 grit sandpaper. Right, we got a little bit of footage here using the electric sander. And yes, that is a glove attached to it right now, catching the dust. As ridiculous as that looks. Anyway, you can see the results I'm getting with the 500 grit sanding sponge. Does a really nice job leveling things off in terms of dust nibs and just prepping the surface for the flow coat. Okay, and in this footage I've switched over to the 500 grit Speedokote to demonstrate the difference in the aggressiveness of the sandpaper. You can see a lot more aggressive cut as compared to the same grit sanding sponge. The advantage of the sanding sponge is that I can get into curved areas with, I guess, fewer fears of cutting through the clear coat. I can get up closer to the edge with the sanding sponge, but the regular sandpaper is definitely quicker, and with the sanding sponges, you might as well plan on using the whole box. You're going to go through them quick. So I try to reserve them for curved areas and tricky areas. And here this shows how relatively nice and flat the clear coat is now with just the 500 grit sanding sponge. You can see in this I did not go too close to the edges with it. I'll be coming back with a 500 to 600 grit hand sanding sponge and taking care of all that. Quick hack: gray Scotch-Brite pad cut down to 3 inches for the mini buffer. And this is just something I thought I'd try out. I just cut a 3-inch gray Scotch-Brite down and gave this a shot. Trying to get into some tight areas with a 3-inch buffer, and seemed to work okay. I'm not sure it's really any quicker than hand sanding it with a sponge, but yeah, a little experiment. It was worth a try. So I like to go in and take care of the big picture first. A section at a time, sand everything as close as I can get without burning into the edges. I'm staying a comfortable distance away from the edges. Most of the time with the sanding sponge and the 500 grit sandpaper, and everything else I go back and I take this sanding sponge, 500 to 600 grit, and I'm going in, hitting all the areas I missed. This is a job you can definitely take care of in a day and an afternoon if you're quick at it. And I prefer doing this over excessive buffing. Usually you end up with a nice, flat, dull-looking surface like this. That would basically be ready for your flow coat. When the sanding is completed, I will be power washing the entire car and doing the wax and grease remover, trying to make it as spotless as possible prior to clear coat. That's it, thanks. I will be back to film the flow coat as well.